Hey y'all, welcome back to our very bookish channel. My name is Amanda and my friend Jen and I run this channel together. We are putting out all kinds of bookish content for you guys, so if you love booktubers, then this is a great place to be. Please like this video and subscribe. In this vlog, we are going to be reading 3 different arcs that we received, and they're all kind of spooky, they're all kind of creepy, thriller or horror vibes. So we thought it would be so perfect to read these arcs for Summerween. All 3 of these authors, Jen and I are so excited to read. I personally have read 2 of the 3 authors, and Jen has read all 3. These are all books that are going to be coming out later this year, and we have 1 book from Alice Feeney that is coming out in January. So super excited to get a head start on these reads.
Welcome and happy Summerween, everybody. Even though it's technically June when I am recording this, we are going to adventure into 3 upcoming very creepy books that we're going to do a vlog together and let you guys know our thoughts on these. And we are very, very, very big fans of all 3 of these authors. So it's a very exciting vlog that I feel that we're doing for Summerween. I am also a big fan of Summerween. I love fall and Halloween, so to celebrate something that reminds me of that is also very fun. The 3 books that we're going to be doing, The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. Both of us have this as an electronic arc. And if you guys saw another video, I can't remember which one this was in. I want to say the Riley Sager one. I had given Amanda, and I also have a signed book plate that he had signed for us on his Instagram. He had said if you send him a self-addressed stamped envelope, he would give you a signed book plate, and he also had sent the swag. That was very cool, and we're going to be reading that one. I'm very excited. I loved Hidden Pictures, which is the other postcard. If you haven't read that, it is very, look how creepy that is. There are creepy pictures in this book. It's really pretty awesome. Another book that we're doing for this vlog is one of my favorite authors. I actually don't know how much. Amanda really loves Alice Feeney, but we are doing Beautiful Ugly. She has a physical arc. I have an electronic copy, which this is the cover. It's also a really cool cover. I'm very excited. I love her books. I have read several now, and I'm just a huge fan of her books. So we are doing that one. And then lastly, I think Amanda really loves this author, maybe more than me. I don't know. I really do like him too. His name is J.H. Markert. And we both read The Nightmare Man, which here's a picture. That one was super creepy. Really love that one. This is his, I believe, 3rd one. We both have electronic arcs for this one. His new one looks super creepy on the cover too, and it's called Sleep Tight. So those are the 3 that we're doing in this vlog. I am excited for all 3. Watch as we dive into some really creepy thrillers for Summerween. I'm ready to dive on in, so I'm gonna get reading and stay tuned. All right, starting The Last One at the Wedding. And I was disappointed because it says there's supposed to be a map of the wedding venue that I think they would insert into the book once it's not an arc anymore. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays into the rest of the story, if I have to refer to that or not. But I feel like there'd be pertinent information that I'm missing. But I am going to dive right into this. I just heard it start raining outside, so that's like the perfect weather. It's been so hot recently, and I hope it cools it off a little bit. I'll show you guys.
So I have a confession to make. I have already started reading the first book that we're reading for the vlog. We are currently reading The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. We both loved Hidden Pictures. I read Hidden Pictures for a vlog that I did last year, a possible 5-star read, because I thought that might be 5 stars for me, and I loved that book. It wasn't 5 stars, it's very, very close. I think I would have given it 4.5 if they had half ratings on Goodreads. So I was so excited to get an ARC copy of The Last One at the Wedding, and I have a confession to make. I'm already at part 2. I started reading it last night and I didn't start filming because I was just finishing up another book and I was just laying in bed and just started reading it. I didn't have my camera close by, so you know, I'm sorry, but I'm already at part 2 and I'm really enjoying the book so far. The main character you're following, his name is Frank, and he has a grown adult daughter. I think she's 24, 25 years old, and I think she's working her first job out of college in a major city. And Frank is just, you know, your kind of middle class, average American. He is a driver for UPS and he takes like a lot of pride in his job. He's been doing it for a long, long time. He's very established in the company. He's moved up in the ranks. He has, like, you know, close to retirement, has a good pension or something coming. So he's very proud of himself and he's very proud of his daughter, but they haven't been talking for a couple of years, and she just calls him randomly out of the blue and says that she's getting married and she wants him to be at the wedding. So that's basically everything that's gone on. I am suspecting that the people that she's starting to get involved with, the family she's married into, there's gonna be all kinds of secrets regarding them, and I'm guessing that something bad's gonna happen, someone's gonna die. We don't know who, we don't know what, so we'll see. I mean, this book could go so many different directions, and I'm really happy so far with my reading progress. The book's reading very fast and it's going along quickly, and I'm really enjoying the first part, so we're gonna move right into part 2. I'm actually gonna go inside and start reading because it's getting kind of hot out here. There's really comfortable chairs inside the house, so I'm gonna move on inside and start reading part 2. Alright guys, I have made it to part 3, the rehearsal, and you're finding out a lot more about this fiance, his daughter's fiance, and their family, and they're really weird. Well, I want to say they're really weird. They seem normal, they have a lot of money, but the mom is staying hidden. No one has seen the mom, can talk to the mom. They say she has terrible migraines, but she hasn't participated in any of the wedding weekend so far. I also do not really like the main character, Frank. He seems like an okay character, but he's kind of short-tempered with the little kid in this book. His sister is a foster parent and she's fostering a little girl that has to come along with him for the wedding, and he's kind of short with her. He seems kind of short-tempered and he's real quick to like be annoyed by her. So I don't know, he's seeming kind of like a little bit of a jerk to this little kid, so it's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But we're gonna keep reading and see where this is going. Well, things just got very interesting.
I have an update on The Last One at the Wedding. I am up to the rehearsal. Before that so the rehearsal was part 3, and the first part was invitation and part 2 was the arrival. And you're seeing it from Maggie/Margaret's father's point of view. And so far it's just a bunch of weird things happening. Wait 1 second. I think that light was blinding me. Well, a bunch of weird things have been happening, and me and Amanda were texting today because we're near the same parts of the book, so we're on pace with each other. I don't know if that's going to change, because the other update is telling you guys how much I'm still struggling with reading on a tablet. I have tried reading on an e-reader in my past, and for some reason I am uncomfortable with that one too. I just am one of those people, I think, that's always just going to feel more comfortable with a physical book. So what I've been doing is I alternate between the tablet and just another book. And it also helps me to read something that's kind of lighter and different to kind of balance anything. And so far, this one isn't even that crazy or thriller. Like, it's just, we're just getting backstory right now, so it's not even particularly dark. You know, something is happening. There's a missing girl, Maggie / Margaret. I don't know which one to call her because they call her fiance and his family call her Margaret, and he calls her Maggie. Maggie and her father had been estranged for 3 years, and you don't know why yet. I even asked Amanda today. I was like, did I miss why they were estranged? And she said she doesn't remember them saying. I have a theory. I told Amanda I won't say it on here just in case that ends up being a spoiler and I'm right. But I have a feeling my theory might be right. My guess as to what's going on. You also don't see, so she's marrying Aiden. Aiden's father is Earl, and I think that's how you pronounce his name. It's Errol. He's very rich, super rich. Earl's wife has been MIA, and she's mysteriously like in the 3rd floor cabin room overlooking the festivities that I just read. But she hasn't come down because she gets headaches and she isn't feeling well. And Aiden's been missing too. So there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. You don't know what's going on, but nothing too crazy or dark themed just yet. But I am reading a physical book of The 7-Year Slip. So it's kind of romancy. I am a fan of Sophie Cousins, and this really reminds me of Sophie Cousins. It is my first Ashley Poston book. So I've been reading this to get away from the tablet sometimes. But the other struggles that I've had with the tablet is I forget to put it on a charger, and it needs to be charged definitely more than an e-reader for sure. The percentage goes down, and then I gotta charge my book up. Could sit with it charged and reading, but I usually have it charging and go read something that I don't need to plug in. The other thing that's been distracting me is we are dog sitting right now. A very cute puppy, well, I say puppy, but Dakota is not that young. We've been watching him for the past couple days, and so that takes up my time with work. And also allergies in general are bad now, but I always forget how much dogs and dog dander do to my sinuses. So I feel like this pressure on my eyes. I'm taking extra allergy medicine, but here's a cute clip of the very cute Dakota that I have been watching.
Hey y'all, this is not a reading update, but I have something fun for you guys. There's a really unique bookstore near me, so we're gonna go check it out.
am about halfway through the Jason Rekulak, Last One at the Wedding, and I am going to soldier on reading on a tablet and see what exactly is going on, if we're going to find out what happened to the missing girl, if we're going to find out what's going on with Aiden's mom, and also see if my theory is right about what's going to happen. So stay tuned. So there was just an interesting development that happened, and a body has been found. So our first official murder, but they're just saying it's a death so far. And I'm definitely getting the message that because they're wealthy, they're kind of sweeping these seemingly disappearances and deaths under the rug, and there's something nefarious happening. Let's see what that is. Also, I was trying to hold my comment because I was thinking it was early in the book and maybe it was gonna change, but I'm really not liking the main character, Frank. He's just, I don't know if that's what is meant to be happening and you're not supposed to really like him, but he's just, I don't know. He's not very nice to his sister's foster child, and he's just, I don't know. There's something about him I don't like right now, but maybe that'll change. Let's see what happens with this recent development.
Hey guys, I am on page 304 of 334. Almost done. I just have a few more minutes in the book, probably like 30 more minutes in the book, and it is this book has been really good. At first it felt a little slow. Once everybody got to the wedding, it felt like they were kind of meandering around a little bit, but then things started happening and it's picked up. And I know I mentioned earlier how Frank was kind of a jerk to the little girl, and that situation has been corrected a little bit, and you've really discovered how evil some of these people, these characters in this book are. And I don't know, I really like it. I'm enjoying this book a lot. I don't know what the ending is gonna bring. I don't know if I'm going to end up liking this more or less or the same as Hidden Pictures, but we'll see. It's a very, very different book than Hidden Pictures. Hidden Pictures kind of felt like a thriller, but it also was kind of scary. It kind of had sort of a paranormal feel to it. It took place in like the suburbs, so it was sort of a domestic thriller, scary domestic thriller type setting. And this book is mostly taking place where, I would say this book is mostly, it takes place in a big city and on a big compound owned by really, really rich people. So you kind of have rich people drama, but you also are getting a very dark side of that world, or the world that's created in this book around those really rich characters. So I don't know, I'm hooked. I want to keep reading. It's very easy to read, so I'm gonna finish this book up and then I will just check back with you guys with some final thoughts.
All right, and yes, Grogu's back. I'm in the other bedroom and Grogu's off to the side over there. Anyway, so I flew through the final pages. I don't even know what to say. I will give final thoughts, I guess, at the very end for all of them, but I was definitely kept riveted. Couldn't put it down even to record something. There were a couple times I wanted to record because a couple shocking things happened. I was just glued to the ending and I felt like it was really good. So yeah, I will go over all three at the end. Yeah, stay tuned.
Hey y'all, I am back home. As you can tell, I'm in my normal filming location. I am done traveling for at least a couple of months, so I had a great time, and I did finish The Last One at the Wedding while I was traveling, but I wanted to just film my final thoughts here. I was expecting something like Hidden Pictures, something a little creepy, a little taste of the horror genre there, something to kind of, you know, scare me a little bit. And I didn't get that with this book. This book is just straight thriller, I feel like. I really didn't get any kind of creepy horror vibes. There's none of the paranormal aspects like Hidden Pictures had in it. I didn't really like any of the characters. I liked the little girl, of course. She was so cute and so smart and just very interesting. You know, she had like a rough background, but she seemed to be, you know, handling it well. And I wanted more. I think if Jason Rekulak wanted to make a part 2 with this world, I think, you know, I don't think he intends on making this a series or a duology or anything, but I think he has left a lot of room to write more about these characters and continue on in their story. I really wanted more from the billionaire CEO. I really wanted to find out more about him and the world he lives in. You only get a glimpse into this world and some of the really like bad things that he's done. I was trying to think of another word, like illegal, bad, distasteful, manipulative. Like he's, you know, very I don't know, greedy, selfish, you know, just all of those like really bad qualities. And he surrounds himself with criminals and other bad people. And I really wanted more of his story and more of the bad things that he's done. I really wanted to kind of understand him more, and I really wanted to hear more about his world. In this book, you're following the father of the bride, and he just lives a very normal life, and you're getting his perspective, and I enjoyed that. But I also feel like I didn't get a lot of like the dark, evil world that the billionaires live in, and I kind of wanted more of that. So I think there's the way the book ended too. I know some people aren't going to be happy and they're probably going to be dissatisfied with the ending. I was okay with the ending, but I think the way the ending left off in the book, he could continue the story in a second book and kind of dig deeper into that billionaire's world and some of the characters, you know, the dark characters and evil characters he surrounds himself with, and some of the more manipulative things they have to do to be what they are. So yeah, that's just my thought. I did like Hidden Pictures better. It had that like little creep factor that pushed the book higher in the rankings for me. I'm giving Last One at the Wedding a solid 4. If I did half stars, maybe 3.5, but I'm gonna do 4 on Goodreads. I am definitely still a Jason Rekulak fan. I'm definitely gonna read anything else that he comes out with, and I kind of hope he continues the story of this world and some of these characters in another book, because I have a lot of questions that were not answered.
I am starting Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert, and I am a little excited because I saw, when I put on Goodreads that I was going to start reading this, I saw the description, and I hadn't read it yet. I just was going into it, I think I said earlier, going into it blind, because he has proven that I'll just read whatever he has with Nightmare Man and Mr. Lullaby. But in the description for Sleep Tight, it said for fans of Catriona Ward. That got me a little excited, not gonna lie. So I am diving on in to Sleep Tight. Let's see if it lives up to how I feel about Catriona Ward as well.
Hey y'all, I wanted to give you an update. I am now reading Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert, and this book is everything that I expected it to be. I just have been thrown back into J.H. Markert's world of his books, and I just love them. I have read 2 books so far. I have read The Nightmare Man, which I just thought was a fantastic horror novel. If you guys like horror, you've got to check out The Nightmare Man. I gave it 5 stars. It has everything you want in a horror book. It's creepy, it's scary, it's a little bit gory, but not too gory. It is, you know, mind trippy, trying to figure out this mystery around murders. It's very good. So I highly recommend Nightmare Man. And I also listened to an audiobook of his that I got on NetGalley called Wicked Games, and I think it's sort of just a retelling or a rewriting of someone else's story that he has done, and it was really good as well. Very short book. So if you want a short audiobook to listen to, highly recommend that one. And in this book, you're following a detective, and her dad was also a detective. Well, him and his partner were kind of famous for arresting a notorious serial killer, and that serial killer has been on death row for some time, and his time is up, and his execution kind of triggers this series of events. So some new murders start popping up, and they think that it is linked to this execution that happened of this serial killer, and we don't know much about it. We don't know who it is necessarily. You do get the point of view of this kidnapper slash murderer in the book, which I always appreciate and think is very fun when authors do that. And he calls himself the outcast, and you don't know what that means. You don't know why. You just know that he is doing some bad things, and you're getting his point of view on some things. So there's a mystery all around that. Of course, it's solving these murders and this mystery, and also dealing with the personal things going on with this female detective. So it's just been very interesting, very layered, which I love. I love a not complicated, but I just love a thorough story that has lots of facets to it and can keep my interest. So this is going a very good pace as well. You're getting just enough information to keep the pace going, just enough things are happening to keep it interesting, and I'm really enjoying the book so far. And I expected nothing less of J.H. Markert.
All right, I am about 100 pages in to Sleep Tight. I am riveted, and it's also horrifying. And I forgot how when I was reading Nightmare Man, I don't feel like it was as much with Mr. Lullaby, but Nightmare Man pretty much gave me nightmares. This one is a tad disturbing, but I'm also very riveted. I also feel Frida McFadden, maybe psychological thrillers in general, have been teaching me not to trust people that I'm reading, and I, for some reason, am distrustful of some people that I'm reading, some of the characters, such as Danny. For some reason, I'm not trusting him. I don't know what's going on with Tess, whatever happened to her when she was younger, and she doesn't remember everything, and she's slowly remembering bits, and it seems essential to finding out where the killer is gonna be. I'm hesitating because it seems like there might be two killers. Not sure, but to get her daughter back, she may have to remember things that seem very important to what's happening. It's been very sketchy as to what she experienced when she was younger and how it ties to Father Silence, the killer. And something's telling me like Father Silence wasn't really killing, that he somehow was trying to save whatever was in the situation, like the kids or whatever was being killed. Like there's a backstory there, and I feel like we're gonna find out that he wasn't really doing the killing. Basically, there was someone who was on death row and was electrocuted because of the murders that he supposedly had done. And it seems like he really did do those, but after he was electrocuted, there was someone who came out of the woodwork and started killing, and also kidnapped Tess's daughter. And Tess, her father was one of the officers that had put Father Silence away. She also is an investigator, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but I am really, really riveted, and I need to read a little more before I go to bed because I gotta go to work in the morning, so I'm gonna read some more.
Hey y'all, I have a reading update for you guys. I real quick. I just did a pickup order, and if you've watched our videos, which a lot of you guys are new here and you haven't seen them all, but I get nervous with doing pickup orders because I get scared that it's not going to be the right product, or it's going to be something that's expired or, you know, damaged or something, where the shoppers are trying to hurry and get everyone's groceries together and they're just grabbing stuff off the shelves and they're not really like paying attention and picking like the best products. And so while I was waiting for my order to come, the guy in the car next to me was like, hold on, you guys gave me expired bread. So I don't know, I'm nervous now to like check my order and make sure everything's good. I'm sure that like most of the time everything is fine, but it's just, you know, I don't know. I like the convenience of it and it saves me so much time, but I also get nervous about maybe getting like bad stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully this pickup order works out. But I just picked up some groceries and I have a reading update for you guys. I am in the middle of chapter 45, 74%. You probably can't see, and I'm 74% of the way into Sleep Tight, and I'm really liking this book so far. I'm a fan of J.H. Markert. I really enjoyed The Nightmare Man. I know I've said that before. I gave it 5 stars. It was just a fantastic, very layered, very thorough, very good horror book, and I'm feeling the same way about this story. I'm just liking it so much, and there is a character in the book that I just find so interesting. It's very fun and interesting when we're reading about him because he has multiple personalities. He is a survivor of this serial killer, and part of the way that he has coped with his life, he's had very abusive parents, and then he had this, you know, interaction with the serial killer, and part of the way he's coped is he has split his brain into personalities, and it's just so fun reading about these personalities and when he switches them and kind of like their mannerisms and things that they do. It's been really fun, really interesting, very creepy. The creep factor is very high, and I'm just really enjoying the book so far, and that is my update for now.
All right, I am almost done with Sleep Tight, and I have to say, I'm not even at the end yet, but I have to say I'm pretty sure this is my favorite from J.H. Markert. It's just, I feel like he's hit his stride. I feel like it's just so well put together. It is starting to have there's a lot of momentum and I feel like a lot of characters and things I'm trying to keep track of. And my criticism of the first one was it felt rushed at the end. So the momentum is definitely building. So I am just waiting to see if it finishes on a good note. I am almost done, but unless something really crazy happens, I'm probably not going to film again. And I will just give all my final thoughts at the very end when I talk about all.
Okay guys, I have an update for y'all. I have finished Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. I really liked this book. I'm just saying that right off the rip. I think he writes fantastic horror novels. They are a very good mix of horror plus mystery thriller. I just find his horror novels to be just very unputdownable. It did take me a little while to read just simply because I did not have time to read, but when I was reading, I did not want to stop reading the book. The chapters just kind of fly by. It gave me that thriller feeling, okay? I just felt like I was reading a thriller part of the time, and then also there's a lot of horror aspects in this book. Some of the horror aspects include missing children, cult people that wear animal masks. There's a serial killer that's executed right in the beginning. It's kind of a botched electrocution who says something very creepy. There's spooky house. There's a character that take these kids to like a kind of, it's not meant to be creepy, but it's kind of like a creepy dollhouse type kid's house. I don't know. I felt it was creepy. And then some of the thrilling aspects of this is one of the children that go missing has parents that are very adamant about finding their kid, and the mom is actually a detective. So that's one of the characters you're following. You're following the mother detective who is searching for her child, and you know there's lots of layers in there. Y'all know I love the layers. Even Jen was texting me about another book and talking about all the layers, and I'm like, yes, because I feel like for a story to be just fantastic next level, it has to have layers. But there's like personal problems that this mom is going through. There's the dad that she's dealing with. She has, her parents are in the book in some aspect. There's just lots of layers to this character, and then there's lots of layers to the story, and I just find it fantastic. It was creepy, it was horrifying, it was scary concepts, it wasn't gory, it was just fantastic, thrilling horror novel, and I highly recommend this if you are into thrillers or horror books, because I just feel like it's a great blend of both genres.
I am diving on in, and I know because of the glare you can't really see, but it is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I am a huge Alice Feeney fan. I think my favorite book from her is Daisy Darker. If you don't know Daisy Darker and you haven't read Daisy Darker, it's one of my favorite thrillers ever. So it's definitely one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of hers. I also loved His and Hers. I didn't like as much the one it's called Rock, Paper, Scissors. A lot of great comments on Goodreads and TikTok, but something about that one just wasn't one of my favorites of hers. And then she also had one last year called Good Bad Girl, and I like that one too, but absolutely Daisy Darker is my favorite. So I am going to dive on in. This one is about a husband and wife. He is a writer and she goes missing. He ends up going to a secluded island to write, is all I really know about this one. I'm curious to see what happens to his wife, and we'll see what kind of twist are in this one. I am going to dive right in right now.
All right, guys, it is time. It is time for me to start this book, and I'm really excited to start it. And it's Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This comes out in January, so I got a copy of this arc super early. I won it in Goodreads, actually, surprisingly. I hardly ever win the Goodreads arcs. I feel like with the Goodreads giveaways, I will enter to win like hundreds of them, and I get one like over the course of like 6 months maybe. But I won this one. I was so lucky. I know there's a lot of people asking for this one, so really excited about that. Oh, Primrose wants to say hi. You say hi? Want to say hi? Look right here. She doesn't want to look. Oh, but she's so cute. She's the softest dog, I swear. And of course, Smoochie right here. Okay, so excited to start this. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, but I know that Jen has read Alice Feeney. I know Alice Feeney is very popular. Jen likes Daisy Darker. I think she's actually read a couple Alice Feeney books, but I think Daisy Darker is her favorite. So I'm going to start with this book, though, since I got this arc. And look how beautiful this cover is. Ooh, I love these colors. So pretty. And have no idea what it's about, but we're just going to dive right in. Here we go. Okay, something interesting. And you don't see this a lot in thrillers, but there is a map. A map. In the beginning of this book. So that's cool. That's cool. It's an island. It's probably the same island that's featured on the cover. But, oh, that's kind of neat. I like the maps. I know a lot of people don't even pay attention to them, but I kind of like the maps. And I see them a lot in my fantasy novels, but I don't see them very often in thrillers. But this one does include a map. All right, I guess this is the first chapter. It's not titled Chapter 1. It's titled Happily Married. So let's just get into this. Start reading.
Right now. All right, I've got through 50 pages, and I don't know what's going on, because you see first from Grady's perspective, the husband, and he's a writer and trying to be successful at his career, and his wife goes missing. But then you end up seeing a chapter from her perspective. I don't know what to make of it. And she's talking to a therapist, and it's in the past. And then you see a year later from his perspective, because his career kind of tanked, and he's going to this island because his publisher tells him to go there. And he keeps seeing, he keeps thinking he sees his wife. And I don't think any of that is spoilers. I hope Amanda doesn't think that's a spoiler. I don't feel like any of that's spoiling. But the chapter on the wife's perspective is a little bit bothering me. I won't say why, but yeah, it's kept me completely sucked in right now. So I'm going to go keep reading.
All right, so I have got to page 95. Okay. There's no like chapter numbers, but each chapter has a title and then the person that you're following. And I'm on chapter Silent Conversation, and it's Grady's point of view. So far in the book, you're following Grady, and he is a writer, and he just got a New York Times bestseller, and he wanted to celebrate, but his wife wasn't home yet. She was on her way home. He was on the phone with her, and she said that there was someone laying in the road, and she got out of her car to help that person, and then she's disappeared. And that's kind of what we know about the wife. From Grady's point of view, he just had a happy marriage. He loved his wife to death. He can't live without her. He's been really struggling since she's been missing, kind of not knowing what happened to her, and is she alive? Is she dead? You know, what's going on here? He can't write any more books because, like, I guess she was his muse, and she's gone. So he's been struggling getting in the headspace of writing books. So he's kind of struggling. He's also a big drinker. I would say he's an alcoholic. He drinks every night. And then you're also getting the past point of view of his wife. And sorry, the dogs were playing right here on the couch, like right in my lap. But you're also getting the point of view of his wife from before she went missing, and she's talking to a therapist. And from her point of view, the marriage was not so happy, and she was not very content, and she was just kind of getting antsy with the marriage. Like, she just felt like there was so much more that she wanted to do with her life. She was just getting kind of bored. She wasn't happy. She said that all Grady wants to do is focus on writing and not pay attention to anyone else and just write his books. But from Grady's point of view, he claims that she's always working because she's an investigative journalist, and he just claims that she's always working. So, you know, you're kind of getting conflicting point of views. Grady's point of view seems to be not reliable narrator. And I know Jen hates that, so I'm really going to be curious to watch, when I edit, to watch her reactions to this book and see what her thoughts are, because she doesn't really like unreliable narrator point of views. I kind of like it. I personally think it's fun and adds a little twist and a little bit of intrigue to the book. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. So far, it's been very fun to read, very easy. I am very interested in finding out what is going on. This book has got me sucked in a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
I kept thinking that I should stop and record because I hadn't said much about this one, and it's mostly because I'm just trying to still figure out what is going on. It's enough to keep you turning pages because you're getting more and more of the story, but I know I talk a lot about this. If you watch this channel, I talk about the unreliable narrator a lot, but he is not sleeping, so a lot of what I feel is happening is him potentially, you don't really know what's going on. Is he hallucinating? Is he losing his mind? I don't know what's going on right now, and since I'm not a fan of the unreliable narrator, it's starting to make me feel frustrated because it just keeps going on. So I am at 200 pages. There's not much left, so I'm hoping we get more of the story. of what is really going on. But we'll see. And this island that he's on is just very, very odd. Very odd. It's a weird cast of characters. I don't know who we're not supposed to trust or what's really going on. Or it just might be our lovely, unreliable narrator. Who knows? I'm gonna try and dive back in and see if I can find out what's really going on.
All right, y'all, update time. I have gotten a lot of reading done in Beautiful Ugly. I am on page 227. I'm at the chapter called Honest Thief. And so much has happened with this book. It's really hard to talk about because anything I talk about with the book, I feel like could be a spoiler. And this book is so... I don't know, there's so many different ways you can interpret it, I think, because you have the unreliable narrator aspect, and I think when I caught up with you last time around the 100-page mark, I think he was going to this island and staying in this house that his publisher has inherited, and just weird things happened on this island, and he also is seeing things and hearing things, and then they're not there, and then like he keeps like thinking that he sees his wife that's missing, but then it's not her, and it's just like unreliable narrator like crazy, and you don't know, is it real, and like these island people are tricking him or scaring him, or is it just in his head because he, you know, likes to drink a lot of alcohol? And they also have this tea on the island that's kind of odd that can make you like hallucinate. And he drinks a lot of that. So, I mean, no, there's a lot of different ways to interpret this. And I don't know what I expected. I didn't really have any expectations at all. Never read this author before. Had no idea what the book was about. But it feels very dark and creepy. And perfect vibes for the Summerween reading. Just perfect. Just very dark and creepy. It is a thriller. It's not horror or anything. It's definitely thriller. I don't feel like it's a very horror-esque, but it's just, you know, creepy and dark. It's a dark thriller, and you're kind of like don't know what to think. Like I don't even haven't even come up with any theories because I'm just interested in reading and I just don't know what to make of this book. So I'm hoping that I get a lot more answers in the final bit of this book. I have like that much more left. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I feel like this is a book I can't talk about. You kind of need to experience it for yourself. It's just very hard to talk about. So I hope that you guys would be interested in this book and pick it up, because I can talk to Jen about it, obviously, because she's also reading the book, but am very curious to see what people think of this book, you know, when they read it. So we'll see. Let's get to the end. I will check back with you guys when I finish and get final thoughts on this book.
So I finished Alice Feeney, and I've been sort of marinating because the last video you see me talk about how much it was a little bit of a struggle because it was feeling like an unreliable narrator. And the last, I don't know, 50-ish pages were kind of a wild ride. And I still am processing what happened. I actually texted Amanda yesterday saying I needed to talk about it, because it's just one of those books and those endings, at least for me, that I really want to talk it out and see what someone else got out of it. So that's where I am with the new Alice Feeney, and I'm going to still kind of think about it and go over all the books in final thoughts and say which ones I loved and how I feel about all of them in my final video.
All right, y'all, I have finished Beautiful Ugly, and wow. Wow, what a page turner. The title of this book, Beautiful Ugly, applies in so many different ways. There are so many reasons this book could be called Beautiful Ugly, and I just think it's a great thriller. I really want to read more of Alice Feeney now. Jen's been telling me I need to read Daisy Darker. She's even mentioned it on this channel before. Like, Amanda needs to read that. And I do. I need to read it. I don't know when. I have so many arcs that I need to read and so many books we're doing for vlogs that I don't know when I'll get a chance to. But now Daisy Darker is like way further up my TBR list. Because this was a great book. I think the ending, not the ending per se, but you could interpret this book different ways. I was talking to Jen about the book, and I think she feels the same way I do. There's just so many different aspects of this book, different ways you could interpret it, different ways to interpret clues or ways to interpret a character's point of view of things. It's just very up to interpretation, I feel like. Not the ending, really. Not necessarily the ending, which I don't like it when the endings are usually up to interpretation. I don't like that because I don't feel like satisfied that the book is ended. I don't feel happy with the ending and satisfied when the book ends in like an ambiguous way where you could interpret it to mean anything or you don't really know what happens. I like the ending to end, and I like to be sure about the ending. And this book, you're sure about the ending, but the whole book just seems kind of like open to interpretation. And I can't wait for this book to come out so I can see what other people think about this book. I know this book is going to be vlogged about and talked about on YouTube and probably TikTok and Instagram, and I can't wait to see what people say about it. I feel so lucky to have been able to get an early edition of the book, and Jen and I, for us to both get an early copy of the book has just been amazing, and I'm so glad that we read it for this vlog. It was perfect for Summerween vibes.
I had to do some errands, and one of them was going to Michael's. We were getting some artwork framed, and of course they had their Halloween stuff out, so check out some footage. As you saw, they had a lot of Halloween stuff. I don't know why I wasn't thinking that would be out when we went there. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it's perfect for the Summerween episode. I didn't buy anything. I'm definitely not that much in the mood for fall, even though it was so hot out today. It's in the 90s. Anything over 80 tends to feel torturous for me. I don't really like super hot, humid. Ugh, it's just gross. And I came home and promptly took another shower because I just felt so hot and I just wanted to cool off. As you also saw, I didn't realize that Michael's has books. And of course they had Frida McFadden, and I was just tickled that they had Frida McFadden. Final thoughts on our 3 books that we read for Summerween: Sleep Tight, J.H. Markert, The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak, and Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I would have to say that I enjoyed the most, and I want to say enjoyed the most, I would say J.H. Markert's Sleep Tight, because I did like all three for sure. None of them did I feel were bad books or anything like that. I was really happy to have read all three. I feel that The Last One at the Wedding is very different than his original Hidden Pictures that I read and loved. And it's not that it was, I feel like sometimes expectation definitely changes things, but I don't really feel like it was spooky, scary. It was a little bit of a thriller, and there's a little bit of, I would say, like uneasy situations, things that make you kind of cringe, but I don't know how much I would say it's in a, I don't know, creepy vibe. I wouldn't say that book is creepy, though the main character, the dad that you see the perspective of, I feel he was kind of giving creepy vibes, but in a different way. I just feel that he wasn't the best character. I didn't really like him, which probably taints that book a little bit, which therefore it's not going to be my favorite. And Beautiful Ugly, I've been wanting Amanda to get her perspective on it. That book has been sitting with me, and especially the ending, and I feel that's what Alice Feeney does, especially with Daisy Darker. I feel that it just kind of changes your perspective on maybe what you had just read when she has written the endings for those two in particular. And that one is just, I wasn't expecting the ending, and I was struggling, as you guys saw, I was struggling through parts of it because I really felt it was bugging me about what I consider the unreliable narrator, because he wasn't getting sleep. You didn't know if he's hallucinating. You don't know what really the truth is. And sometimes that can really just grate on my nerves. I'm not always a fan of that. Sometimes I feel like it works really well and I don't notice it, and I'm, going through pages, and then other times I feel it's just, ugh. But of Alice Feeney's books, I would say this one is right behind Daisy Darker as to my favorite of hers. So I did really enjoy it. I just want to talk out that ending with Amanda very much. I want to see what her opinion is on it. I want someone else to read this one so that I can talk it out. So yeah, there's that. Of the three, I would say Sleep Tight, and maybe that's why I said I like that one the best of the three. I would say Sleep Tight fits the horror / the Summerween theme for us the most. It very much gives like Halloween vibes and creepy, dark, afraid of the dark kind of vibes. I feel if you like that kind of book, you definitely would like this one. Of the books I've read by him, it's by far my favorite of his. I felt, and I know I already said this in one of the times that I filmed, but Nightmare Man, I loved that up until the ending, and I just felt rushed. And there's other stuff I want to say about the ending, but I don't want to ruin of the Nightmare Man. And this one, I felt it was his perfect groove of writing everything, and it didn't feel rushed. And he did start to introduce, there were like more characters and more plot points coming at you towards the end of the book, but I felt like it was better paced this time. So I very much enjoyed that book, and I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. The other two I gave, I believe, 4 stars too. I enjoyed them. I thought they were really solid, great books, and there were lots of points about it. And like I said, with Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly, that ending, and I would say like the last 20-ish pages of that book, there's lots that I would love to talk out with somebody, because it just left an impact, is how I would describe it.
All right, y'all, final wrap-up time of our Summerween reading. So you guys know that we read Beautiful Ugly, and then on the tablet I had Sleep Tight and The Last One at the Wedding. Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert and The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. And all three of these books were perfect for Summerween vibes. They were all thrilling and a little bit scary and horrifying. I would say the most mild one as far as scary goes is probably The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. I really was expecting that book to be just, you know, terrifying and shocking, kind of like Hidden Pictures was, but that wasn't the same vibe of that book. I feel like that author kind of went with the different vibe, a different direction, more of a thriller vibe than a horror vibe. And so I think like it's a great book, and if you go into it with the expectation that it's a thriller and not necessarily something that's really scary, then I think you're gonna love the book. I mean, I liked the book. I thought it was good. I am glad that I read it. I will continue to read other books that Jason Rekulak comes out with. I just think it wasn't as good and as scary as Hidden Pictures was, the first book that I read by him. So make what you will of that one. My favorite of the three books is it's probably Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. I just think he does fantastic horror. His books just have so many little facets and aspects to them. So many, like I said before and all the time, layers. There's so many layers to the story, layers to the characters, layers to the mystery, and what's going on with the characters. I just think that his books are fantastic. I do think The Nightmare Man was a little bit scarier, a little bit more gory than Sleep Tight, but Sleep Tight was fantastic book. I think everyone that loves thrillers or horror should go out and get that book when it comes out. It was just great, and I highly recommend it. And then of course we have Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney, this book was probably the most surprising of all to me because I went into it with no expectations and I didn't even know what the book was about. But if you want a book that's gonna get you thinking, that's gonna get your wheels turning up there, and not even in a way of like trying to guess the end, because I wasn't even trying to guess the end. I was literally just along for the ride. But if once you get to the end, you kind of have to rethink about the book. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you like something that gets those wheels turning up here and gets you thinking and gets you like analyzing things after the book is over and rethinking things and going back and looking through the book, then this was a great one for you. I think also if you just like fast thrillers and you just want to sit down and get through a book that's also very scary, it has a very dark vibe. It's, you know, the guy thinks he's seeing things and you're on this island with some really kind of weird characters, and you know, one of the characters keeps telling him he needs to, you know, give him signs that he needs to leave, he needs to get out of the island, and you know, he tries to leave and then something happens and he can't. So I mean, just fantastic. All three books were great. I liked them all. I am so appreciative for the arcs, and I can't believe Jen and I both got copies of all three of these arcs, and I can't wait for these to come out and read more of what people think about them and hear more about these books on YouTube, because they are great. And I have just really enjoyed all three of them. My Summerween this year has been fantastic reading.
That concludes Summerween. I know we're not going to get this out in the traditional 1 week that I don't even know who says Summerween is on certain dates. To me, July is just Summerween, and we get to celebrate fall and Halloween in the summer. We're probably going to get this hopefully within a week of me recording this, so probably towards the mid to late part of July. I think Amanda is still trying to catch up with reading the books. I did just pick up another book, and I thought this one would have been perfect for Summerween as well. Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. He did Bird Box. I watched the Netflix movie. I did not read Bird Box, but I heard lots of great things also about the book, not just the movie. And this one just sounded super creepy. It felt like right up Summerween's alley, but I was thinking I might get to this before we finish recording, but so the Sophie Cousins new one just dropped. I was able to get an e-arc for that on Edelweiss, and I am starting that one for a light read and may be reading this after that. Thanks so much for watching with us as we enjoy Summerween books. I appreciate any comments that you guys have about any of the books that we read or things we might like. And I hope you guys enjoyed something for Summerween as well. And until next time.